So we spent a lot of time on this channel lately talking about the Imperial-Class Star Destroyer, the mainstay warship of the Galactic Empire, but I figured today we could take a closer look at its successor, or the closest thing it has to a successor, the Resurgent-Class Battlecruiser utilized by the First Order. I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to head down below and hit that subscribe button. So the Resurgent-Class Battlecruiser is one of the newest and functionally most capable vessels in the Star Destroyer's lineage. It represents the best features of both the Imperial-Class Star Destroyer utilized by the Galactic Empire and the Venator-Class Star Destroyers utilized by the Republic. And it takes some of the flaws that were exploited in the Imperial-Class Star Destroyer and eliminates them. So I figured today we could take a closer look at the Resurgent-Class as a whole, the role it played within the First Order's Navy, and how it was designed. So let's just jump right in with the statistics. At 3 kilometers long, the Resurgent-Class was significantly longer than the Imperial-Class, about twice the size, give or take. Its main drives consisted of 3 Kuat drive yards, destroyer ion engines, which are very similar to the ones seen on the Imperial-Class Star Destroyers, as well as a set of 8 Gemin 8 ion engines to serve as auxiliary propulsion. As far as armament, now this is where we get a little bit ridiculous. The Resurgent-Class Battlecruiser was armed with over 1,500 heavy turbo lasers and point defense laser cannons, as well as ion cannons. Add on top of that a robust system of point defense quad concussion missile emplacements. These are the missile launchers we see used against the escaping rogue TIE fighter during the beginning of The Force Awakens. And then an unknown number of tractor beam projectors, obviously for capturing fleeing vessels. As far as complement goes, it could carry a total of over 8,000 stormtroopers on board, which is significantly more than the Imperial-Class Star Destroyer. On top of that, another 55,000 enlisted personnel and 19,000 officers maintained the vessel. When it comes to vehicles embarked on board, the vessel could carry up to 100 AL-1971 troop transports, a undetermined number of various ground vehicles of the variety utilized by the First Order, including their AT-ST and AT-AT variants, at least 1 prefabricated ground base for setting up ground installations, and in most cases they could even carry a single light cruiser on board stored somewhere on the vessel. On top of that, though, there is the fighter complement, including 2 full wings of various types of First Order TIE fighters. This could be the standard TIE FO, the sort of standard TIE fighters of the First Order, the TIE SF, the Special Forces variant, or their TIE Bomber variant, which I don't think we ever actually see on screen. And to store these 2 wings of TIE fighters is a variety of different hangars stored in different locations around the vessel. There is one located in the ventral hangar below, just like on the Imperial-Class Star Destroyer, but there are also several hangars along the side trenches running along either broadside side of the vessel. On top of that, that relatively hollow section near the bow of the ship is actually designed to house more hangars and docking placements for additional TIE fighters or other small vessels. Which is where the Venator's lineage really comes in. The Venator was, at its core, a carrier, so that sort of was carried over to the Resurgent-Class, which also functions a lot like a carrier, unlike the Imperial-Class Star Destroyer, which honestly was more of a battleship. But as we can tell from that turbo laser complement, it doesn't lack the battleship-like qualities of its predecessor either, and it does seem to sort of have filled in the flaws because a good portion of those lasers on board are likely point defense cannons, something that the Imperial-Class Star Destroyer was really lacking. And, by the way, they supplemented those point defense cannons with remarkably effective point defense concussion missile launchers, which seemed to do a pretty good job shooting down TIE fighters, at least. The Resurgent-Class Battlecruiser was designed and built by Kuat and Trala Engineering, the sort of successor to Kuat drive yards, which faced hard times following the collapse of the Empire. Now, these vessels were designed to lead fleets. They were designed to serve as flagships for smaller vessels, unlike the Imperial-Class Star Destroyer, which ultimately formed the core of the Imperial Navy. The Resurgent-Class sort of served as a command vessel for fleets that likely consisted of older Imperial-Class Star Destroyers, as well as other smaller vessels that were either commandeered or built specifically for the First Order. As such, the Resurgent-Class is designed from the ground up to function as a command vessel, including removing some of the flaws that were present in the Executor-Class during the Galactic Civil War. One of the most notable changes in this front is the addition of a secondary bridge. Not only did they remove the command structure, which put the bridge higher above the vessel and did make it more vulnerable to enemy fire, but they added a secondary bridge buried deep within the vessel, so if the primary command bridge is destroyed, the secondary bridge can simply take over operations, and the vessel can continue functioning. So the destruction of the Executor during the Battle of Endor could not be repeated with a Resurgent-Class Battlecruiser. Now, there's a lot more to discuss about the Resurgent-Class Battlecruiser and the role it played in the rise of the First Order and sort of the resurgence of Imperial ideals into the galaxy, and I plan on covering that in a follow-up video where I talk more on the history of the vessel as opposed to discussing its sort of engineering and its statistics. But the Resurgent-Class did play a really big role in the galaxy following the collapse of the Empire, and if you'd like to learn more about exactly how the Galactic Empire fell from power following their defeat at the Battle of Endor, I'll leave a link up here to a video I have all about that. And I'd like you to let me know down in the comments whether you think the Resurgent-Class is actually an improvement over the Imperial-Class. Do you think it's reasonable for them to have 1,500 turbo lasers, point defense cannons, and ion cannons, or do you think that's way too many? Do you think this vessel is actually an improvement and a combination of the Imperial-Class and the Venator, or do you think it's really just more of the same? And last but not least, if you have anything else you'd like to see me cover in Star Wars, leave it down below in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.